Hey, good morning, guys. I want to show you how to put together the new standalone file that includes the two different size trees, and it also includes a bear, an elk, and a reindeer. You could add either LEDs or fairy lights, whatever you choose. I'm gonna show you with the LEDs, but again, you can use fairy lights if you prefer. First thing, you're gonna create what I'm gonna call I-beams because that's kind of what they look like. You'll get these two slotted pieces and then the thicker piece, and they just kind of fit in there. And the other one goes on the other side. And it kind of creates like this I-beam or channel, and that channel is where you're going to be able to put your LEDs. So it's fairly simple. So you'll need two of those. And then the last one is, it's got the open bottom, and it's the same thing. You just kind of put it in there and it creates this T looking piece. This piece is what goes on the very back, because we're gonna have lights on the back of this as well. So, all right, so this gets glued to the back of here, even with the bottom, and just next to the hole. Do not cover the hole, because then you'll be covering the access to get your LED or fairy lights through. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and kind of center that the best that you can. I would have done scores, but you would have had to put it in your machine a second time, so obviously that wasn't going to work. I'm just going to hold this down with clamps for a second so I know it's secure. I'll put that to the side. Now on these others, there is score lines. So this is going to get attached to here, and then it's going to get glued to there. So it creates this channel. Okay. And then the smaller one gets glued to the bear, the elk, whatever you choose to use. All right. Okay, so now that you have everything glued on, your back piece, this middle channel on the smaller tree, and then the channel on your animal. We're gonna start adding the LEDs. And again, if you wanna just do fairy lights, that's perfectly fine. You just wrap them as much as you want. So we're gonna start here. This is the pin that you attach to the power source. So this is gonna start on the opposite side of the hole because this is gonna come up and around and then it's gonna go through the hole. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. If I could get the So I'm gonna start up a little bit. So when I reach this top part, I'm at a space where I can bend it. So that sticks with the double-sided tape that's on it already. This gets connected here and those light up. So now you're gonna bring the rest of your LEDs through the hole and we'll go on to the next one. All right, so now that you have that done, you're gonna do this one. Now this is gonna go like this, okay? So the way you would do this is you're gonna wrap this around this way, and then it's gonna come back down and through the hole, okay? So I'm going to, you can either glue it if you think if it's easier, but what I'm going to do is I'm gonna kind of try and get this through here without gluing it, because getting it through the hole when it's glued might deem a tricky thing. So basically I'm just kind of measuring it and seeing how much I need before I adhere it. I'm gonna run this through. It. We'll tell you fairy lights are probably easier to deal with than LEDs, but LEDs give a much better lighting, I think, in my opinion. All right, so basically, again, I just wanted to measure it to see how much I'm gonna need. And then I will stick it down. Okay. And so that's down. And now I would go ahead and glue that down so it's easy to work with. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have both of the channels done and this is glued on, we are going to do the last part, and this is basically, I'm going to put it in front and literally just kind of measure my length so I can get rid of all the rest of this. And so it just measures to about there. On LEDs, there's only certain places that you can cut, so just make sure when you cut on those correct lines. And now I'm going to make sure it's flat. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring this around. And I did it a little bit too much, so let's cut it again. And now we'll just adhere that to it and glue the bear to the front. And again, when you're putting these on, make sure everything is flat, because otherwise it's not going to, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to stand up straight. So when you're doing this, just make sure, you know, it gets a little tricky with the LEDs. Fairy lights, you can probably glue everything all together and just kind of wrap them. Okay, so what I do is I put it against there first, making sure it's flat. And then I wrap this. Stick it down. And now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and glue it to there. Does that make sense? So that's it. I'll glue that and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what the finished product looks like. The LEDs on the back, in the middle, and if you can see, on the front. And that's for that. That's with the LEDs. I wanted to show you really quickly the fairy lights. Yes, they are much, much easier because they're so much easier to work with. Basically, you would take your fairy lights and, you know, stretch them out. I'm just going to tape this here for a second just so it doesn't move. I wrapped it twice around here and then brought it through the hole. And then the middle, I'm going to wrap probably 3 times because I can use this whole thing. Okay, maybe even 4, yep, 4. And then bring it through the hole. And again, fairy lights are much easier because they are, this little wire makes it so much easier to get through holes and stuff like that. So if you can see that. And then really just kind of finish it off in the front with as many wraps as you can. And then just secure it with maybe a dot of glue or hot glue. That's what I was trying to say. I can just see if I can secure it with hot glue or with regular glue right here. I don't know if that's going to stick to the metal, but we'll try. But then, you know, you have your fairy lights. And again, I know you can't see it. I'll show you in the darks what it looks like, but I wanted to show you what this looks like. Once you adhere it, or once you connect it to your USB. Do I have a USB on here? No, I don't. I'll be right back. All right, so once this is finished, you connect your USB or your power source to the USB. Then you can, it's got a remote, and that's what kind of I like about it. Turn it on, and that's how it looks. Show off the lights. So it is definitely brighter than the fairy lights. I don't have the greatest fairy lights, so if you guys out there have a source for really good ones and bright ones, I'd love to know. You can also wrap more than one string if you wanted to on here and maybe do a purple and green. So, all right, guys, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way I can. Have a great day.